Hi there, folks. I'm Dave with Rampant Wolf Games, and this is a castanet player I hired. Named.
From Deus Ex Machina.
All right.
That's my groove name. I'm like Prince, except my name is...
Roll credits. All right.
And we are here to talk about top 5 rage-inducing games. Mm-hmm. Now, I made a stipulation to myself that it couldn't just be games that I hate these games.
No.
That's
these are games that I've actually seen people get annoyed at.
These are games that I will say are not bad. This is my stipulation, though. I picked the best games that induce rage. Or is this the game that induced the most rage?
These were just games that induced the most rage. Do you need to redo your list?
No, because my list may not be exactly like ours. Because there are games that I'm just...
He's editing his list live.
I'm going to add one, because the other games do induce a lot of rage.
Uh-huh.
But one of them induces more rage than enjoyment. The other game induced more enjoyment than rage. I'm pretty sure
one of mine is going to be on your list.
I guarantee it.
Because I picked it because it causes you the most rage. So anyways, let's do this.
Wait, but is it just through hearsay, or were you sitting with me in a game that caused rage?
Hearsay.
Then that's not fair. It should be personal experience. Okay.
All right. All right. Coming in at number 5. Talked about this one already tonight, but you wouldn't know that because this is not in the same video. See what I did there?
And no, folks, we are always wearing the exact same clothes, and we come to each other's houses every second day to do a video, and then we post them immediately after to make sure everything's concise and up to date.
You might have to watch all our videos because maybe we're going to do a contest that way.
It also should be noted, that's only half true. He really does wear the same shirt all the time. I do wear the same hat.
Actually, the funny thing they don't know is actually I have many shirts like this.
But they're all black.
They are all black.
And it's not, you was like, oh, that one has a slightly different arrangement of spot UV coating.
That's right.
Anyway.
Coming in at number 5 is Ultimate Werewolf. Now, this one...
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, it's rage-inducing just because...
You can be kicked out of the game.
And if you're the first guy out of like a group of 30 or more, even 12, like 12 people playing the game, your evening's done for like an hour or more.
My point though with that one is that there's like rage at the game, and then there's like, for me, if there's a game where I get eliminated or like I'm kicked out of the game, like, well, you lost, like, I'm more like, this is my reaction, like, oh, it's like what is the most disappointing inducing game, the game that induces the most, like, it's like when I get eliminated out of a game, even if it's a long game, it's not necessarily rage inducing, as it's more just like a deflating whoopee cushion, like
I said, I've seen people get like,
but yeah, that's the thing, that's how I react.
Yeah, me, if I get eliminated early, I'm just kind of like, hey, yeah, I'm still gonna pay attention because maybe it'll be funny. But yeah, so that's
we're talking about a top 5 player elimination games. The games that, like, we're talking about, oddly enough, I don't know why I didn't put Skullfires on it, because that is a player elimination game that's actually good.
Yeah.
But that's a game where I'm like, I gotta stay around and see what's going on. But Werewolf is just like, really? Yeah. Like, so you guys are playing out the rest. Now, the funny thing is, I didn't put this on the list because it's not a tabletop, but if I induce all forms of gaming, the number 1 rage-inducing game by a huge margin would be D&D.
Yeah.
Because nothing induces more rage than that.
You walk into a room and your entire party dies.
Yeah, a total wipe, or even worse, like, you have that GM that says, oh, okay, Dave, you're not here for this, so you have to leave the room. Come back. And then you're outside for 20 minutes, and you're like, are you guys done yet? No, he's doing this. I have literally been in sessions where I had to be out of the room doing nothing for 3 hours.
Ouch.
And then I had to come back in, and then like an hour later the session ended.
Yeah, I would have lost my shit.
Yeah. Anyway, D&D is not on the list because it's not a board game.
All right, so that was number 5, Ultimate Werewolf.
Number 5 is the game that Dave knows is going to be on his list. Let's get it over with. It's Mission Red Planet. It's on his list somewhere. I'm getting it over with. I'm putting it at number 5 just because it induces a lot of rage, but it's also not a very good game. I said it, and I'll say it again. It's not a very good game because it doesn't have player elimination, but it has player... This is a word for it.
Timeout.
No. It's... It reduces a player's capacity of winning by such a degree that you are effectively eliminated. And that's my issue with the game. So, for me, I look at Mission Red Planet, and it's rage-inducing because it doesn't have a gotcha mechanic. I'm not directly screwing you. Everyone's doing their own thing. You can try to think strategically and go, he didn't play this card. He's going to play this card now. He's going to play this so I can... But it comes down to... I am literally going to remove your capacity of having a chance to win this game. And I'm doing it almost inadvertently, and the game's mechanics, by consequence, are going to screw you. Because the game could easily add more ships, play it around the player count. The game is designed specifically that one person's selfish act screws you unintentionally.
Yeah.
And it screws you so badly that you may not be able to recover.
Yeah.
That I cannot stand. And it would be this list would be flipped over if we're talking about games that induce the most rage. I put mine on my list where I said, no, this is a game that has a lot of rage. And oddly enough, number 1 actually induces a lot of rage proportionally. Yet surprising, it's a better game. Weird. But Mission Red Planet is a bad game with a lot of with a lot of rage. So it gets on this list purely from the level of rage. I played the game 3 times. Every single time, I've wanted to punch it in the face. I never get angry at the other person, which is the reason why I don't think it's a very good take that game. Because we're not taking that. Just the game mechanics are designed such a way. It's like, you're playing Gloomhaven, it's all cooperative. It's like, every time this guy hits, you just take a hit. Like, why? Because this is dumb. So that's my number 5 pick. I'm not going to speak of it anymore, because he will eventually. That's my number 5 pick, Mission Red Planet.
So my number 4 game is a good game, but does induce a lot of rage, and that is Mission Red Planet.
Oh, it's right number 4, eh? I got it before you did. No. Here's the thing. Anytime, like I mentioned Mission Red Planet in my review for Alien Frontiers, because even though they're very, people go, how these games are not similar at all. I go, yeah, exactly. Both of them have a planet with area control. Why are they not similar at all? But how you get things on that planet is completely different. One's a die placement, the other one has that timer and action drafting and all that stuff. And Alien Frontiers is a perfect version of how to do a game like that right. And Mission Red Planet is a way to do that game with a lot of rage. I almost actually had Alien Frontiers on my list because the only thing that can do almost as much rage as having your actions completely reduced is having a great roll, but not being able to put those dice somewhere because someone else has taken it up before you.
Yeah.
But I always state the fact that, yes, but that single roll doesn't kill your chances for the whole game. That's the difference.
Sure.
You like the game, though, so you go ahead. You tell me why you like the game.
That's good.
I'm literally going to take a swill so I can not interrupt you.
No, I'm good. I enjoy the game. I enjoy those mechanics. It's for me. It's if you haven't planned it out right, then yeah, the game's gonna kick your butt. That's all I'm gonna say. So we're gonna move on to number 4 for you.
Number 4 for me is a game that not a lot of people know about. It's called Arcane Academy. Arcane Academy is everyone's playing as student wizards at the... Brace yourself.
The Arcane Academy.
Got it in one. And in the Arcane Academy, you are doing spells and doing things, but you're not attacking somebody else. Because what you're doing is you're doing tests. Mm-hmm. And you are creating this tableau. Mm-hmm. And you get tiles. And the tiles you put down on this grid. I think it's a 4x4 grid. Nope, it's 4x3 grid. And you lay down these tiles, but if there's a node, half of a node on a tile, you can connect it to a previous tile. And then when you do an action, you do that action and any other actions connected to it. Seems perfectly like it's an engine builder because you can do this action and it clicks off this other one. And it's really solid for that. the weird, but it's weird though because at that point, it seems like one of those games where you're fighting over resources because like I'm trying to go for this and I have the money to get this, so you can't get it. So it's like that, which makes sense. Except for some weird reason, despite the fact that everything I've mentioned seems to make sense thematically, it has to take that mechanic where you can screw other people. It's the only type of tableau/engine builder that I've seen, and this is true, where you can literally pull tiles off of another person's spell chart, spell grid. Like you can take away, you can steal their spells, you can steal their resources, you can. The worst one is you can force them to discard tiles, which take up time, and you could break up their chains and stuff. It's like Nicole was so interested in this game. Like, she saw the rules, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna love this. I can make my own spell and create chains and so forth." And when we started playing the game and the spells started coming out, she looked at him. She said, "What does that say?" And she was getting angry, like no. And she would just toss that card. We're not putting that card on the table because she knows one of us will have to go for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it doesn't need take that mechanics. It doesn't need it, and yet it has them. So you could be playing around and like, oh my god, like, if I cook this, I literally had one. For the first time ever. We played the game a couple times. We played it just recently, like 3 days ago, and I was able to create a chain where every single tile spot was connected. So I could literally cook off my entire board, which is really hard to do, right? So I was literally doing all of this, and what was really stupid, though, none of them really did a lot, but Nicole had a short run, but they were really powerful. So she was actually running away with the game, and in the end, I beat her by 2 points. But just barely. That's when she got angry, and she's like, I gotta win my next game. And then she won an underwater cities and then got really angry that she didn't decimate me. But there's no reason for it to have to take that mechanic. It's almost like, again, it's not on this list, or not on my list personally, which is Grim Forest. Because Grim Forest seems like it's already got resource allocation. You can take away resources someone else doesn't. But yet the cards then somehow have take that mechanics, which for a game that seems for families, seems almost odd that they have them there. And Arcane Academy is almost a family game, but this like make your friend's life a living hell. Oh my god! Actually, it says that on the card because some of them were mean. Yeah. But that is number 4. It's a good game. It is a fun game, but boy, can you really anger someone. You're like, I have a whole system. You're like, oh really? Okay, well, not anymore. And have like the Superman staring like.
Yep.
So that's my number 4 pick.
All right.
Academy.
Coming in at number 3 for rage-inducing games is Downforce.
Oh yeah.
Now this is a old game that had, like I think it's 40. If I remember correctly, it's 40 years old.
No way. Yeah. So was this recent? A reprint? A big?
Yeah. Restoration Games did a reprint of it. And
that's their name, Restoration Games.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a brand new game.
Nope. That's it's a 40-year-old game.
I know things.
Yeah. And there is a power in that game which will allow you, when you play cards, to move all the cards to ignore one color on that card. If it doesn't specify, you can only do it once per, and then you have to, you can't do it the next time. You can consistently pick the same color every turn. And what you do then is you can end up causing someone's card to never move on your turn. I've seen that spark someone off bad.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because that person's card came in last because I did it to them time after time.
You mentioned this.
Time after. Yeah.
Yes, I remember you mentioning this.
Yeah.
Who was that person?
The wife.
He's married, folks.
Well, it used to be.
Still is.
So, that's my number 3 pick for rage-inducing games, Downforce, depending on how you play it.
My number 3 pick is a relatively unknown game. It's called Pandemic. Now I think, wait a second, that doesn't. You don't do something that makes another person angry. No, you don't. The game makes you rage-inducing. Take your pick. Almost every Pandemic has that. Mm-hmm. I've seen cooperative games where, something good happens, something bad happens, you're like, okay, right? Like this War of Mine almost made it on the list, but this War of Mine doesn't make me angry. It just imposes crushing despair. And then it's just, well, that's dumb. It's not rage-inducing. It's just like, well, I'm never playing.
That's disappointing. Yeah.
That's just. It literally is just like I said. I said it. My actual review. I said it's like stabbing a whoopee cushion and just then deflating it without a fart. Like, it's like, oh, well, that's over.
Yeah.
It's just like there's no rage because you're just like, oh, we never had a chance. But games that are just like, it's so like doing this. Okay, no. Okay, the random number generator just made this game way more difficult than it needs to be. All right, then we do these things. No, and that's just Pandemic. And Pandemic, there are two things. A, you can get angry at someone else for doing something. You can get there's three ways you can get angry at Pandemic. You can get angry at someone doing something they should.
I always get mad at the game.
First thing I do, I get mad at the game.
Yeah.
I get mad at the game because the random number generator does not making things any easier. I get angry at a player for not doing what they're supposed to. And 3, I get angry at myself on my turn because I realize my turn comes around and I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And I am useless on my turn.
Yeah.
My turn becomes wasted, and I have to wait until something comes around again. And all I need to do is sit there where I am and do nothing.
Yeah.
And that gets me angry because I can't progress the game. It just gets worse on my turn because I can't do anything to make it better. Yeah. So that, and I said all pandemics. Name a pandemic, and it's like that. I'm not saying pandemic.
Pandemic the Cure.
Okay, the dice game is actually pretty good. Because once again, the dice game is not. Like I said, it's like all of the standard formula Pandemic, and then all the reskins of the traditional Pandemic. None of the weird offshoots, which is like one. But that's my number 3 pick. Pandemic. Also say core Pandemic to make things easier without people getting on my case.
All right,
Mom.
Number 2 pick for top 5 rage-reducing games is Cash and Guns. This game...
Why are you shooting me? Because I don't know.
This game is horrible for that. Oh, let's all pick on one person tonight kind of thing.
I've not had that happen.
I have seen it happen so many times. And it's just like, yeah, it's funny. Let's all pick on this one guy. It's like, all right. Cool, I guess I'll just go play this other game because I'm never going to get to play. So, yeah, that's my number 2 pick, Cash and Guns.
Yeah, Cash and Guns, I don't know. Cash and Guns is so thin of a game for me, It's hard for me to get angry at it.
I'm not angry at the game, angry at the people.
I'm not angry at you. I'm angry at
the game didn't do anything.
So that's a big difference, too, because Mission Red Planet and Pandemic were angry at the game. Or you go in the corner and you think about what you did. But games like Arcane Academy and Downforce...
really, at that point, one of those we should be mad at Matt Leacock then?
Yeah, I am mad at Matt Leacock. He needs to make better games. Considering how popular he is, I think... we'll get into that. But games like Arcane Academy and Downforce and so forth, we're angry at the people at the game.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those situations like, what's this list about? Is it games we get angry at... or games that induce rage between players, because that's almost 2 different lists.
It is. It is almost 2 different lists.
And maybe some other day we will split this list up. But for now,
I think, yeah. So, what's your number 2?
My number 2 pick is rage-inducing, but it's completely hilarious, and I go with the flow. So, it's not a game I hate because it's rage-inducing. I think that rage-inducing is something that's going to be incredibly entertaining to somebody else, and that is Mysterium. Because if you're the ghost,
you don't have a good night,
and you're just like, how do you get that? How do you make that mental connection?
The better one is
how do you see that?
There's that one person at the table, and you're just like, yeah, we are in tune. And then they're just like, yeah, guys, he means this. Yes, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. And everybody's like, no, he means this. Why? You've known me longer. Why?
I can almost put Chronicles of Crime on this list too, because somebody makes a connection that screws up the whole group. But Mysterium has rage because there's that instead of an app that getting angry at you for being daft, it's a dude who can't speak, who hides underneath their screen and starts just drawing swastikas. I'm gonna kill all these people.
Hate. Yeah,
Mysterium. Oh my god, fun game, and it's fun when there's rage inducing, like when it's like,
Yeah.
because the player's like, how do you get that? What? I'm just, and the funny thing is that the players always double down. They're always like, I've never seen a player go, yeah, you're right, man. I should have seen that. They're always like, no, these things totally make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, dude, you are not an artist. If they ever want to do a test, like in the first Ghostbusters, we're trying to test people's Esper powers. Mysterium is it. Mysterium is proof that there's no such thing as psychic phenomenon, because then you would be able to win, right? But nope.
Yeah.
That's my number 2 pick, Mysterium.
All right, for number 1.
Why do we always do that now?
I know. Number 1.
Snip.
All right.
Number 1 is another cooperative game. It's Time Stories.
Yeah, but you're mad at the people, not the game.
No, you're mad at 2 things. Like, there's 2 levels of madness. So, like we were talking about when you're angry at people, because unfortunately, when there's a decision, and even if there's an alpha gamer, somebody's going to say we should do this, and then somebody's going to say we should do that, and the other 2 usual players go, okay, who are we going to vote on? And it's really rage-inducing when the one guy who's right gets voted out, and you find out later that you should have done that guy's job, and you lose the game because a guy's like, why would you do that? Like, I have not had... I get angry momentarily at a take that mechanic. I get angry at a mechanic because I think it's badly designed. Time Stories induced rage where I literally was like, I don't know if I can play with you people anymore. Because they did, like, in Time Stories... Like, you should be able to, even someone who's intelligent should be able to burn through a Time Stories in 2 sessions. It took us 3 because my other players decided to decided to be the Joker and just become chaos. They became bad noob role players. And as a guy who's been GMing for 30 years, it really, oh my god, you guys aren't children. Why are you doing this stupid thing? And that's the first level of rage. The second level of rage is Bob when you get back out of the cryotube, and he is a complete prick. I mean, the Dice Tower had a whole top 10 most annoying characters in games.
Yep.
And the only reason why Tom created that list was because he wanted to put Bob at number 1. Like, literally, they have so much seething rage about Bob as a character that they created an hour-long video and created 9 other annoying characters just so they could mention the first worst character is Bob, the supervisor at the time facility, who berates you before a mission and berates you at the end of a mission. He'll berate you if you win. It's just want to punch Bob. Okay. I don't want to be like Bob. Bob's an ass. And then on top of that, there's a third level of rage, which is the game's story intentionally trolls you. There are subplots that take you on different tangents that are just there to be red herrings. There was even the first one, and this is not a big spoiler, this is the first one where you have to give a plunger to a guy, and you're hoping he's going to give you some kind of secret bit of evidence that'll gain you access to some information. And it costs you 5 time units in a game that only gives you like 25 or 30 depending on your difficulty. And you give him his 5 time units, and he literally just eats up 5 time units, and you get nothing out of it. And you realize, oh my god, the game just trolled us. And the first game story has at least 2, if not 3 of these types of red herrings that are just there to eat up time. And people who have criticized the game cite those specific moments. The fact that there are red herrings in that game that are just there to take you on a tangent to eat time so that you'll lose a game. And so there's 3 levels of rage. You have rage against people for doing something stupid, you have rage against Bob, and you have rage against the specific story you're on. So the game has 3 facets of rage, and that's why it's my number 1 pick. Time Stories. Fun game. Boy, does it get me angry sometimes.
Alright, my number 1 game is a game that seems like a very simple mechanic. And then it seems like, let's all get out of this together. And then they're like, yeah, let's introduce sharks and whales and monsters.
And snakes?
And that is Survive.
Oh.
And that is I think it's Survive Atlantis Sinking, I believe is what it's called.
That one specifically?
Yeah. And there's nothing worse than being in a boat full of people. You're almost to the island, and then someone gets that thing where they activate the monster, eats your boat and your people, and you're just like, and then you look at what the number on the bottom, the points that your people were worth, and you're just like, those were my most expensive people. I'm done. I've just lost the game because you killed me. That, I have seen so many people just... I've seen people get up from the table and just like, I'm done. And just walk away because they're just like, I'm done. And it's just like...
I'm surprised now that we had this whole list that we haven't put any of the betrayal games on here. Because when you find out, like...
But honestly,
for me, it's one of those things where, like, there's shock.
Yeah.
But there's no rage. Just like...
Yeah.
Are you...
Like, Shadows over Camelot, where we had that one person where she played it cool the entire game.
Until she played it cool and cooperative until she could lose the game with one action.
Yeah, and then she did it, and then we're all just like, what just happened?
And I love the fact that for me, it didn't clue in.
No.
And you just went, oh, you're the traitor. And I was like a deer in front of a Peterbilt. I was like, what? What? So there was not rage. So I was surprised that we don't put the betrayal games on here. So my number 5 is a Mission Red. Sorry, I'm on the list. No, that's right. Mission Red Planet. Number 4, Arcane Academy. Number 3, Pandemic. Number 2, Mysterium. And number 1, Time Story.
My number 5, Ultimate Werewolf. Number 4, Mission Red Planet. Number 3, Downforce. Number 2, Cash and Guns. And number 1, Survival Atlantis Sinking, I think is what it's called. I can't remember.
Does it Survive?
Escape from Atlantis.
Where is that? That is the game I was thinking of, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I have been Chris.
And I've been Dave. And remember, the rules are just a suggestion. Play the game how you want to play it.
And your rage is just a suggestion.
Rage!
Only take it personally.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Be as placid as a Hindu cow.